The sky changed that day. All across Earth, the clouds pulled apart like curtains, revealing something no telescope had ever seen: 12 glowing rings floating high above the atmosphere. They were silent, perfect in shape, and alien. People stepped outside their homes, offices, and vehicles, looking up in confusion and fear. Then the sky turned dark. A blinding flash, followed by a voice that echoed not through ears, but inside every human's mind. "People of Earth," the voice said, "you have been observed, you have been judged. You now have 7 galactic cycles to submit to the Council, or your world will be removed." The voice was deep and cold. It spoke with finality, like it wasn't offering a choice jet. Countdown. The image in the sky shifted to a massive figure, tall, armored, with 6 eyes, glowing red. Behind it stood many others, a collection of alien leaders, watching silently. "We are the Galactic Council," the figure continued. "You are not the first to resist, but you will be the last." Then silence. The sky returned to normal. The rings vanished. But fear stayed behind, settling in every heart. The world went quiet. News reports flooded in. Every country had seen the same thing. Every screen, every radio, even minds hijacked at the same time. No one could trace the signal. No one could understand how it reached every person on the planet. But inside a dark chamber beneath Earth's surface, someone was already moving. President Mara Ellison sat at the War Command terminal. Her eyes locked on a screen that read, "Protocol Vengeance, Standby." A general beside her hesitated. "Madam President." If we respond too fast, she cut him off. This wasn't a message, it was a threat. And Earth does not bow. She placed her palm on the panel. Protocol Vengeance, activated across the moon. Deep under its craters, giant blast doors opened slowly, revealing long metal chambers the size of skyscrapers. Inside them slept the missiles, thousands of them, silent, cold, waiting. On Mars, hidden under its dusty red soil, human warships hummed to life for the first time in decades. Their AI cores blinked online. Back on Earth, satellites that had never broadcast a single signal before suddenly came alive. They spoke to one another in tight, encrypted bursts. Then they turned their sensors toward the stars. "Why now?" a young technician whispered. "Why would they come after us?" A commander replied quietly, "Because they think we're weak, but we've been peaceful." The commander nodded. "Exactly. And they mistook our silence for surrender." In orbit, small alien probes still watched Earth, cloaked in advanced tech. They had been recording Earth for years, studying humans, mocking their old nuclear weapons, ignoring their slow space travel. But in that moment, something changed. One by one, the probes began to vanish. No explosions, no signals, just gone. Far above Earth, hidden between satellites, a weapon named Ghost Echo released its last pulse. It had no warhead. It didn't need one. It fried alien tech using frequencies no council engineer could even detect. And then the waiting began. The Galactic Council didn't attack, not right away. They believed Earth would beg, that humanity would fall to its knees and send diplomats crawling to the stars. Instead, Earth stayed silent. No messages, no answers. Just silence and preparations. Inside the Council's war chamber, confusion spread. An alien diplomat with a long, twisting neck hissed. They did not respond. Another, with glowing tendrils pulsing around its head, snarled. "Perhaps they are afraid." "No," said a deep voice from the shadows. It belonged to the Arch-General of the Council fleet, a creature whose armor was made of the bones of 1,000 conquered species. "They are preparing." "But it's just Earth," said a young commander. "Primitive, divided, touch the stars." The Arch-General turned his 6 eyes toward him. "Then why are they not afraid?" No one had an answer. Back on Earth, President Ellison walked through the underground control center. Walls lined with screens showed alien fleet movements, encrypted scans, and heat signatures from distant moons. She stopped in front of a display labeled Titan Unit 01, status sealed. A scientist approached. "Ma'am, Titan is still dormant. It hasn't been tested." She nodded slowly. "Keep it that way for now." In a quiet mountain range far from cities, massive metal doors began opening into the night. Deep within, a shape began to stir. Its body was larger than any Earth aircraft. It had no windows, no cockpit, no crew. It didn't need one. The humans didn't build it to fly. They built it to end wars. Missiles began rising from launch tubes across Earth's hidden bases. But they didn't fire. They just pointed upward, waiting, watching. Like teeth behind a closed jaw, humanity had not spoken a single word since the warning. And yet, across the stars, fear was already spreading. Council spies tried to land on Earth. None returned. Signals were sent again, peaceful offers, negotiations, warnings. Earth never replied. In the deepest part of Council space, a species known for cold logic began doing the math. They studied Earth's silence, the lost probes, the Council's past mistakes. Their final report was short. They are not like us. They do not threaten. They wait. And when they strike, it will be final. The Council laughed. They would not laugh for long. One night, as humans slept under quiet skies, Earth's early warning satellites picked up something. A small fleet. Alien ships, fast armed. They were coming. The president stood before the war. Bored again. "Should we speak now?" the general asked. She shook her head. "No. Let them make the first move." "But what if they fire?" She turned her eyes to the stars. "Then they'll learn what silence was hiding." The alien fleet came fast, silent, and sure. 30 Council warships slipped into Earth's solar system without warning, riding dark energy currents that left no trail. Their hulls shimmered like water, bending light, making them nearly invisible. They thought Earth wouldn't see them coming. But Earth already knew. A soft chime echoed inside the hidden command base beneath Antarctica. A screen lit up. Object clusters detected. Vector, outer system, cloaked. Speed, hostile. Commander Reyna leaned closer. "Are we sure it's them?" A technician nodded. "Cloak patterns match Council vessels. 30 ships, minimum." President Ellison stood behind them, calm, composed. "Wake the silos." She said quietly. All over the planet, deep beneath deserts, mountains, and oceans, ancient machines came to life. Missiles, long cold, silent, shifted into launch position. They had waited years, decades. Not one had failed the readiness test. Not one had rusted. On the far side of the moon, hidden ports opened. A large array of stealth sensors, cloaked in lunar dust, began to hum. They tracked the enemy fleet, marking each ship with an invisible beam only. Earth's systems could detect inside one of Earth's oldest missile bunkers. A young officer whispered, "Why haven't they sent a warning?" His commander replied, without looking up, because Earth already gave one. The Galactic Council ships reached Mars orbit. They split into smaller strike groups, targeting known Earth outposts and satellites. They still thought Earth was primitive. They didn't know Earth's real defenses were never on the surface. Inside the lead alien cruiser, Captain Vorex clicked, his mandibles in amusement. The humans still haven't responded, not a single word. Maybe they truly are as broken as the archives say. His tactical officer adjusted her station. "Sir, we are detecting ghost signals, reflections. We can't get a lock on Earth's military network." Vorex waved a claw dismissively. "It's just static. Begin orbital dominance scan. Target their moon relay systems." She hesitated. "Sir, what if they're not as helpless as we think?" Vorex grinned. "Then we burn them quickly." He never finished his laugh. In a flash, a beam of pure kinetic force sliced through the lead ship from the side. No explosion. Just a quiet rupture, like paper tearing. The vessel spun, breaking apart silently as space swallowed it whole. No warning, no detected launch, no visible enemy. Panic followed. Alien comms exploded with chatter. "We're under attack." Unknown source, no visual. Then, 2 more ships disappeared. Gone instantly. No flames, just broken silence. From deep space, Earth's weapons had finally answered. The Council had thought Earth would send radio threats, messages, diplomats. Instead, Earth sent missiles, but not ordinary ones. These were AI-guided, cold-running weapons, with adaptive cloaks and predictive pathing. Each missile could think, learn, and shift direction mid-flight. They didn't follow targets, they hunted them. And now, they were hungry. Inside the Council fleet, chaos broke loose. Ships pulled apart, trying to dodge phantom attacks. But there was nothing to see. The missiles were invisible to alien sensors. Even when they struck, they left no heat trail. Another ship vanished. Then another dot. Within 7 minutes, 12 vessels. "We're gone!" Captain Vurix shouted over the alarms. "Get us out of range! Reverse thrust, now!" But range didn't matter. These missiles were not launched from Earth. They had already been there floating, sleeping in deep space, waiting for activation. The fleet tried to retreat, but one ship's engines shut down mid-jump. An electromagnetic pulse, silent and precise, had shorted its core. It drifted helplessly as 3 more missiles pierced its hull in the hidden command bunker. A map showed red marks turning enemy targets eliminated. Reyna turned to the president. "We've taken out half their fleet." Ellison nodded. "Good. Hold fire. Let the rest run." "Why?" asked another officer. "Because we want them to report back what they saw." In orbit, the remaining alien ships limped away, spinning up their hyper. They jumped through wormholes in random directions, afraid, scattered, but even in retreat, Earth's silence followed them. No response, no threats, just clean, calculated destruction. A day passed, then 2. The Galactic Council met again in their central station above the Starvel anchor. Their chamber was vast, filled with fire pits, water tanks, gravity wells, and air domes to suit each species, but all of them looked shaken. High Chancellor Arivik pounded the table with his stone arm. "You told us Earth was unarmed." Another ambassador hissed. "Their energy signature barely reached Class 2 5 cycles ago." "This makes no sense," an old diplomat whispered. "Then perhaps they were hiding." A silence filled the chamber. Not anger, not confusion, fear. The Archgeneral stepped forward. "We lost 15 ships. No survivors, no transmissions, no trace of launch signatures." This was not chaos. This was precision. Another delegate whispered, "What if this is only a fraction of their power?" The room froze. Back on Earth, the missiles returned to their silence. Some drifted back to stealth bays. Others disassembled midspace and vanished into dust. Their mission was never to invade, only to warn. But Earth was not celebrating inside the human command center. Scientists, generals, and engineers worked around the clock. They knew the Council would not stop here. The real war was coming. The message had only delayed the storm. President Ellison sat alone in her office, looking at a file marked Titan Fleet Status. Deep sleep. She tapped the screen. A voice asked, "Do you wish to wake them?" She paused, then whispered, "Not yet." Elsewhere on Earth, people continued their lives. Most didn't know the full truth. Governments told them it was a satellite error, a drill, a glitch in the sky. But people still looked up at night with new eyes. The stars were no longer quiet. They knew something had changed, something big. In schools, children began drawing ships they had never seen. In dreams, they spoke of fire in space, of a silent protector, waiting behind the moon. Somehow, they knew. Earth had teeth, and the galaxy had just felt the bite. The Council believed they had left Earth crippled, that a message of silence would be enough, that humanity, known for infighting and delay, would collapse under the pressure of a space empire. They were wrong. 3 days after Earth's secret, missiles tore through the first strike fleet. Another alien force entered the solar system. This time, they came prepared. 35 ships in tight formation, shields raised, weapons armed. They moved cautiously, scanning space with every kind of sensor they had. They found nothing. No ships, no heat, no movement. Just the cold, empty silence of space. Admiral Zucker, commander of the fleet, watched from his central throne aboard the dreadnought Collector. His voice rumbled through the comms maintained spread pattern. "Fire upon anything that moves. Assume nothing is safe." He had studied Earth, not just its weapons, but its history. He had read about wars that scorched continents, submarines that vanished into oceans, and missiles that hid underground for decades. He did not underestimate them, but he still didn't understand them. On board a stealth satellite floating far from Neptune, a human AI known as Watcher 07 opened its digital eyes. The Council ships were in range. "Authorization confirmed," it whispered. A message raced through tight beam channels, hopping between silent relays buried in space dust. It reached Earth's command bunker within 2.4 seconds. President Ellison stood in front of the battle screen. "Status?" she asked. General Reyna stepped forward. Second fleet entering Mars orbit. No diplomatic signals, fully armed. They're not scouting. They're preparing to fire. Ellison nodded once. Then they fire first, we answer last. A second later, the alien fleet launched dozens of plasma projectiles toward Mars, specifically at Earth's research colony on the southern pole. The humans there had no warships, just scientists, farmers, technicians. The colony held no weapons, but the aliens didn't care. To them, it was just a message. This is what happens to Defiance in orbit. Plasma rounds burned red hot as they entered Mars' thin atmosphere. Then, everything changed. From the shadows of Phobos, Mars' tiny moon, long metal panels twisted open like flower petals. They didn't look like guns, they looked like empty frames. But inside those frames, space shimmered, bent, cracked. Then the frames blinked just once. Every incoming plasma bolt vanished mid-air. Gone. No impact. No heat. No explosion. Nothing. Admiral. Zucker stared at his screens. What? What was that? His officers shouted at once. Targets neutralized. Energy signature unknown. We've lost all projectiles. What kind of weapon does that? He demanded. No one had an answer. Back in the Mars command base, a human officer grinned. Project Nullshield successful. General Reyna tapped the screen. They just learned Earth isn't alone on Mars anymore. President Ellison turned away from the monitors. Now, it's our turn. Within seconds, dozens of human missiles launched from under Mars soil. They rose in silence, burning no fuel, making no sound. Some warped space around them to confuse sensors. Others split into 5 or 10 smaller warheads, and none of them could be tracked. Onboard collector, alarms screamed. Incoming projectiles. How many? Unknown. Too many signals. Some are fakes, some are real. We can't tell. Admiral Zucker shouted, "Raise full-spectrum shields. Engage point defense grid." Hundreds of bright orbs lit up the space around the Council fleet as they fired anti-missile weapons, but they were aiming at shadows. The real warheads were already inside the defense. Bubble, they hit hard, silent, surgical, not explosions, implosions. They tore holes in ships without sound. Metal twisted inward. Holes caved like paper. And just like that, the fleet's perfect formation fell apart. The first ship to die was the Narrated. It vanished in a flash of white, pulled into itself. No debris, no distress signal, just absence. Then Derekful followed. Then Hessen-3.Z, UKOR, watched 3 of his ships disappear in less than 30 seconds. Retreat. All ships retreat, break orbit, and scatter. But it was already too late. From orbit above Earth's moon, a massive human ship came online. It had no name on its hull, no lights, no signal. It had never been seen by any telescope. It had rested under the moon's surface for nearly 20 years. Now it rose. Titan-class warship Vengeance 1 activated its systems and aimed toward Mars. Inside, no crew moved. No one sat at the bridge. It was entirely controlled by AI, quiet, focused, ruthless. It launched a second wave, not missiles, not drones, blades, metal shards. The size of cars flew through space at near light speeds, curving through gravity fields, changing direction mid-flight. Council ships tried to dodge, some did, most didn't. Within minutes, 20 ships were gone. Admiral Zucker's ship, heavily damaged, escaped by using a jump drive he had sworn never to activate near a planet. It tore open a hole in space, dragging his crippled vessel into the void, leaving half his fleet burning behind him. Silence returned to the system. On Earth, the command room watched the fleet map. Red icons faded, gray dots replaced them. Then nothing. Reyna turned, Second Council fleet destroyed. No one clapped, no one smiled. President Ellison spoke softly. "And how many human casualties?" The officer on duty read the report. 0. She nodded. "Good, prepare a message." Everyone turned. "A message, ma'am." "Yes. 1 sentence. No threats, no gloating." She stared at the screen. "We only defend." The message was sent on an open channel in every language the Council used. Across the galaxy. It echoed. Aliens everywhere, some under Council rule. Some hidden in fear heard the human words, "We only defend," but those who had seen the destruction knew the truth behind the calm. Humanity wasn't trying to conquer, but if you brought war to their skies, they would not just survive, they would end you. The Galactic Council chamber was no longer silent. It shook with the sound of shouting, arguments, and fear. We lost 2 fleets. 2, crushed like insects by a world we labeled primitive. A 4-eyed creature with blue tendrils hissed. Their weapons are invisible to our scanners. Their missiles think like hunters, and they do not talk. They do not negotiate. Another banged the round stone table. Why are they silent? Why no demands, no message for peace, no calls for surrender? The Arch-General stood at the far end, arms crossed. His armor was battle-worn, and his gaze cold. They do not need to talk, he said. They've already spoken, through destruction. The council chamber fell quiet. Every member knew the truth now. Earth was no longer some backward rock ignored by the stars. Earth was a trap and they had stepped straight into it. Have 10,000 ships, someone whispered. And how many have they shown us? Another asked. No one replied. Because that was the real fear. Earth had destroyed nearly 60 advanced council warships without losing a single life. And yet, Earth had only revealed a tiny part of its strength. Back on Earth, the silence continued. No message, no press release, no celebrations. The world's people went on living, unaware of the full scale of what had happened. News only reported a solar system security threat neutralized by defense systems. No panic, no fanfare, only those in power knew the truth. Inside the lunar control hub, deep under the moon's surface, engineers and commanders stood before a curved wall of holoscreens. Each one showed star maps, alien traffic, and threat lines stretching. Far into space, at the center of it all, a symbol blinked. Project Phantom, Phase 2. President Ellison entered, flanked by her Inner Defense Council. Status, she asked. General Reyna stepped forward. Council movement is stalling. They're regrouping. Small scout ships are watching from the outer system but keeping distance. No new aggression yet. What's the galaxy saying? Mixed, Reyna replied. Some species are afraid of us. Others are impressed. We've intercepted thousands of messages. Most are asking the same thing. What else are the humans hiding? Ellison nodded. Let them keep wondering. From above, the Earth looked peaceful. Oceans moved gently. Cities glowed under clouds. Children played in parks. And miles beneath, missiles the size of trains slept in cold silence, but deep in space. Far from Earth's orbit, something stirred. The Council, burning with humiliation, decided to send a third force. This one was different. No communication, no warning, no attempt to land. They would strike Earth without mercy. The plan was simple. Deploy 3 planet cracker bombs each, one capable of wiping out all life within minutes. These weapons had never been used before, not even during council wars. They were meant for planetary cleansing, and Earth was the test. On board the lead carrier he didn't mock Earth, he respected it, but he hated that respect. He wanted it buried. This will be quick, he told his crew. The humans rely on stealth and delay. We will give them no time, no warning, total orbital cleansing. The fleet jumped into Earth's orbit without delay. 50 ships, shields maxed. Weapons charged, the planet crackers armed and locked. Vorax gave the order. Release them. The 3 massive bombs dropped from their bays, falling fast toward Earth's upper atmosphere. Then everything went wrong before the bombs could touch the sky. Something impossible happened. The entire fleet lost power. Lights flickered, engines stopped, shields collapsed. Even basic sensors failed. Report, Vorax roared. His officers scrambled. We've lost main power. Backup offline. No communications. No tracking systems. We're blind. Outside the ships, nothing could be seen. But something was there. Dozens of glowing shapes flickered in the distance. Not human ships, but reflections. Like ghosts. They circled silently, then moved in perfect sync. Then they disappeared. One by one, the ships began exploding not from outside, but from within. Panels melted. Engines ruptured. AI. Cores fried. The human response hadn't come from missiles this time. It came from inside their ships, back on Earth. Inside the Titan vault. Engineers watched the operation unfold. Cyberphase complete, one said. Reyna nodded. The moment they jumped into orbit, their systems connected to the galaxy's relay net. Our ghost codes hitched a ride. Now they pay. Ellison watched quietly. No survivors. And there weren't. Every ship in the Third Fleet was destroyed. In less than 6 minutes, not a single shot had been fired from Earth. Just code, precision, patience. In the Council's high chamber, despair spread like fire. One diplomat cried, "They disabled our ships without touching them. This is not Warret's total annihilation." Even the Arch-General stood silent, jaw clenched. In that moment, a simple signal arrived on the Council's secured channel, a short video. From Earth. It showed the Council's fleet entering Earth orbit. Then it showed the silent destruction ship by ship. Then it cut to black. Single human sentence followed. "This was your third and final mistake." No threats, no demands, just a fact. A warning wrapped in silence. Back on Earth, President Ellison met with the Global Defense Board. "We've shown them what we can do," she said, "but now the galaxy is watching. What's next?" An old admiral face, worn by time, replied slowly, "Now they know, now they fear, but some will still come, not out of courage, but desperation." Ellison looked out the window at the stars. "They expected a fight," she whispered. "We gave them a lesson." And far across the stars, 100. Alien civilizations received the same message: do not threaten Earth, because the humans will not fight fair. They will not play your war. They will erase you before you. Understand what happened. The stars above Earth were no longer calm. Orbiting far beyond the moon, alien warships began to move. The Galactic Council had sent a second message, a final warning, but Earth didn't respond. They didn't beg, they didn't run, and that silence was more terrifying than war. Deep inside Earth's underground command center, General Royce stood before a massive screen showing enemy ships in real time. "They're aligning for planetary strike," said the tactical officer beside him. His voice was shaking. Royce didn't blink. "Let them. But fear is a luxury." We turned into firepower. Outside Earth's orbit, Council flagship Alias Prime prepared its first wave. Perhaps they accept death, like animals. "No, sir," replied his second-in-command. "They're doing something. We detect movement, deep seismic vibrations from under continents." Vorek frowned. What kind of primitive resistance uses tectonic shifts? He didn't know. Not yet. Bout far below, in the Mariana command vault, a cold voice spoke through speakers. It was the AI named Vera. "Phase 2 is green. Launch authorization confirmed." Targets locked. A rumble spread through the Earth, quiet at first, like thunder in reverse. Then silos hidden beneath oceans, deserts, mountains, even under ancient cities, cracked open like secrets to long buried from each. Massive missiles shot upward, not in panic, not in chaos, but with perfect timing. They looked like silver arrows in the night, each one glowing red with contained fury. General Royce stared at the launch screen. "We warned them," he whispered. At that exact moment, the Alias Prime's radar flashed red. "Multiple launches detected," a council officer shouted. "Hundreds of them. Where are they targeting?" "They're targeting us." The first wave hit seconds later. But these were not nuclear bombs, not chemical, not EMP. They erased. The council ship Alias Prime trembled as its port side hull simply vanished. No flames, no blast, just absence. The vacuum swallowed screaming officers as the outer decks collapsed into nothingness. "What technology is this?" Vorek shouted. His ship's AI screamed warnings in 10 alien languages. From Earth's control room, Royce simply watched. "They studied us," he muttered. "They counted us out, but they never realized we don't speak first. We finish last." In another council ship, a broadcast tried to connect to Earth. "Galactic Council to Earth Command. We call for ceasefire. We recognize your advancement. Let us speak." But Earth didn't answer. The missiles kept coming. Every launch was cold, calculated, each one designed with the specific energy signature of a council ship. The humans had mapped their enemies long before this day. Every frequency, every shield, every weakness. "They had time," whispered a panicked Varnok captain as his ship cracked in half. "They didn't talk because they were preparing. We thought they were asleep, but they were building these weapons in silence." Back on Earth, President Lian sat alone in a steel room with a red phone and a quiet screen. Her expression was cold, eyes locked on the council fleet, Reports. How many left? A voice replied through speakers. 68% of the enemy fleet neutralized. Remaining units retreating beyond lunar orbit. Leanne nodded once. Good. Let them run. In a hidden orbital bunker above Earth, something even darker was preparing Project Arcfire. A weapon never meant to be used, built as the final answer. If Earth ever faced extinction. But now, it wasn't extinction, they feared. It was victory. Victory too fast, too brutal, and too quiet. Deep space sensors detected a Council warp beacon, activating. The Council wasn't just retreating, they were summoning reinforcements. Thousands more ships, super dreadnoughts, entire fleets from the outer arm. Royce stared at the data. They're coming in numbers now. Leanne replied with cold certainty. Then we test Arcfire. No, it was Vera, the AI. Let them come closer. Let them believe they have one more chance, and then we erase the sky. General Royce smiled for the first time in days. So, this was only the warning. Missile silos reloaded. The galaxy heard it too late. The silence before the strike was heavier than steel. In the deep void between Earth and the galactic border, the human fleet waited, not with flashing lights or open threats, but with a silence so cold it made the alien commanders nervous. Even the Galactic Council's own intelligence could not understand what Earth was doing, or why it wasn't talking. On the edge of the Sol system, the Keldravi dreadnought Torshaz hovered, scanning everything. Commander Julik tapped his claws on the glass of his command chair. Still no transmissions? He asked. None, Commander. Earth remains dark. Not even civilian chatter, replied his officer. Julik didn't like it. In every war, there were patterns, threats, warnings, prideful speeches. But Earth didn't play by any known pattern. They had sent no answers, no surrender, and no negotiation. Just silence. And those hidden missiles that had torn apart the Varnak fleet 3 days ago. We lost 7 cruisers in under 10 seconds, Julik muttered. Missiles, not energy weapons. Not plasma, missiles. Like the old primitive days. They shouldn't be this effective, his tactical officer said nervously. And yet, they are. Down below, deep in Earth's mantle, General Myra Kovalenko watched the live feed from orbit. Dozens of enemy ships gathered just outside Mars' range. Their formation was perfect, predictable. They think we won't fire first, she said calmly. Beside her, Admiral Reyes smiled. Then let's ruin their prediction. She pressed a red key on her console marked simply, Phase 2. Within seconds, 20 underground silos hidden beneath Earth's oceans opened. From each, a Titan-class missile launched, leaving only steam and silence behind. But these weren't ordinary missiles. They were intelligent. They split mid-space, changed directions, dodged countermeasures, and communicated silently with each other. One by one, alien ships began to disappear from Council sensors. No explosion. One alien officer shouted, "Aboard a Council warship, we're just losing ships. Impossible," Julik yelled, watching his monitors blink red again and again. They're vanishing. But it wasn't impossible. It was Earth's newest weapon, Wraith missiles, designed not to explode, but to invade. Once contact was made, they tore inside the ship, shut down its systems. Then launched miniature black holes that ate the vessel from the inside out. Silent death. No warning dot above Earth. In low orbit, a small observation drone blinked green. It began to send signals to something hidden beyond Neptune. Deep space lit up as an entire fleet decloaked. Black and triangular, these ships had no names, no flags, no sound. But their presence darkened stars behind them. They were the Night Watch. Built in secret over decades, the Night Watch fleet was Earth's answer to cosmic war. Not for politics, not for conquest, but for survival. Ship carried stealth missile pods, quantum shields, and EMP net launchers. They didn't speak, they didn't warn. They just moved like predators in a dark ocean. Admiral Reyes watched their launch paths. No mercy, no capture. Wipe every warship threatening Earth. Begin orbit lockdown. Back on the Torshaz. Alarms screamed. Multiple stealth signals. Commander there, behind us. How? We scanned this sector 10 times. Julik's eyes widened as his screen showed strange black ships surrounding them. No power signals, no engines. Just movement. Then the attacks began. Net-like energy bursts wrapped around the alien dreadnoughts. Their shields cracked, Engines died. Missile pods tore through their hulls like claws through meat. "This is not a planetary defense," Julik roared. "This is war doctrine. This is organized." And yet, he still didn't understand. Earth had been preparing not for battle, but for extermination. On the moon's dark side, hidden in a massive structure called Cradle 1, Earth's top AI oracle monitored every strike, probability of council retreat now rising to 87%, Oracle said in its calm voice. General Kovalenko nodded. "Push it to 100%. She activated the next phase, psychological warfare. Above every council ship, holograms appeared again. But this time not from alien tech, from Earth. And the message was simple. You came to erase us. Now watch what erasure feels like. The voice was human, cold, male, mechanical. Then Earth's satellites turned every alien frequency into a broadcast of screaming metal, exploding ships, and the voices of dying commanders. It looped. Every council soldier heard it. Panic set in. One by one, ships broke formation. Some ran. Others tried to cloak. None succeeded. Back on the council's central war station near Rigel Prime, panic swept through the chamber. Ambassador Trollvac stood frozen, watching the feed of burning warships. Earth's fleet was no longer defending it, was chasing, hunting. "We underestimated them," whispered a counselor. "No, we misunderstood them," Trollvac said darkly. "They never wanted a seat at our table. They wanted the table turned to ash." The council voted in emergency to retreat, to send a peace envoy, to ask for mercy. But Earth was no longer listening. Meanwhile, on the human command ship, Valkyrie Admiral Reyes gave a final order. All remaining enemy vessels within Earth orbit must be dismantled. No warnings, no prisoners. "But ma'am," a young officer asked, "what if some of them want to surrender?" She turned, her voice hard. "When they aim to erase our species, they ended that option." In 10 minutes, the sky above Earth turned quiet again. No more enemy ships, only the black silhouettes of Earth's fleet. And then, as quietly as they came, Earth's ships turned and disappeared back into deep space, into oceans, into shadows. Like ghosts, the message was clear now. The stars had threatened Earth, but Earth answered with missiles and silence, a silence far more terrifying than any scream. The stars flickered above the Martian sky. Red dust blew across the ancient plains, and above Olympus Mons, Earth's largest secret weapon, the orbital cannon called Judgment 9sat, locked in silence. Until tonight, General Astra stood inside, the command center deep beneath Mars' surface. Her eyes stared at the hologram floating before her 3 blood moon ships. Massive, alive, breathing it seemed. The Council's elite war carriers, each one held enough firepower to destroy continents. They were coming straight for Earth. "Time until impact?" she asked coldly. 17 minutes, the AI replied. "Weapons systems are locked, ready to fire." She didn't speak, just watched. Above Earth, civilians stood on rooftops, phones in their hands, faces turned to the red streaks moving slowly across the sky. The media said they were asteroids, but governments had gone silent. No warnings, no speeches, just fear. Down on Earth in a mountain bunker, President Hale stared at the same screen. "How many?" he whispered. "3 confirmed," said Commander Lin, voice shaking. "And we only have Judgment 9 in range. The rest are still charging." The president turned. His face was calm, but his eyes were full of fire. "Then we'll use one to send a message. Sir, if we miss, we won't." Back on Mars, Astra gave the command. "Fire." Above Olympus Mons, the air cracked. Judgment 9 came alive. With a deep, vibrating hum, its massive barrel rotated, aligned, and unleashed a single glowing missile. It was no ordinary weapon. It burned blue pure plasma energy wrapped in dark matter. The missile didn't fly. It vanished. Space bent around it. Time warped. Seconds later, one of the blood moons over 100 kilometers wide suddenly flashed. Then, without a sound, it shattered, like a balloon popped from the inside. Pieces of molten alien metal rained down through orbit. The blast blinded satellites. Sensors around the galaxy went dark. A moment of silence followed. Then the galaxy screamed. Inside the council chamber, the surviving Blood Moon commanders reported in, their voices full of panic. They have planetary weapons, unknown tech, unknown speed. It's a war-class response. Earth is not primitive. Counselor Verax stood from his throne. I want Earth broken. I want every city melted. Send the Eclipse Swarm. Now, the Eclipse Swarm was not an army. It was an extinction wave. Thousands of automated dark drones, each carrying a core capable of hollowing a planet's mantle. They had never failed, but Earth's silence remained. Back on Mars, Astra received new signals. The swarm is incoming, said the AI. Thousands. ETA, 90 minutes. She turned to her second-in-command. Activate the cradle. The man froze. Ma'am, the cradle hasn't been tested. Then it's time. Beneath the Martian crust, another machine began to hum. The cradle wasn't a weapon. It was a creation device. Designed by Earth's lost minds decades ago, it could replicate nanomatter fighters in minutes. An AI-led fleet grown from dust and alloy, the project had been banned. Too unstable, too powerful, but now, as the Eclipse Swarm came into range, the skies around Mars filled with flickers of light. One by one, human-made interceptors, black, sharp, fast-launched into orbit. Born seconds ago, hungry for war, on Earth. President Hale watched the broadcast of the Blood Moon's destruction play over hacked alien satellites. The message was clear. Send this clip on repeat to every system, he ordered. Let the galaxy know, Earth. Just whispered back. The human news networks finally spoke, but not with fear. They told stories of resistance, of missiles rising, of a planet that never truly slept. Even the common man began to understand. Earth wasn't responding late. It had been waiting. As the first wave of Eclipse drones reached Mars orbit, they were surprised. They met hundreds of strange, fast fighters unlike anything in the galaxy. Machines that fought with no fear. They didn't dodge, they ripped through with suicidal accuracy. Astra's interceptors swarmed in patterns no algorithm could predict, because they weren't following logic. They were following rage. 3 hours later, the Eclipse Swarm was gone. Nothing but metal dust floating near Mars, but the price had been paid. Astra's eyes filled with quiet grief as she walked through the damaged control room. We lost 74% of our fighters, but we held, her second said. Earth is still safe. For now, she whispered, but they'll send more. In the dark corners of the galaxy, other races watched in silence. Some sent messages, others erased Earth from their maps, and on the Council's war planet. Preparations began for something far worse. Counselor Verax walked into a sealed vault. Inside, a creature twisted cybernetic ancient floated in stasis. Wake the Reaver, he said. The guards stepped back in fear. No one uses Reavers anymore. We do now, Earth had whispered. The galaxy would now scream. The war front had changed. Earth's missiles had not just answered the Galactic Council, they had shattered their pride. Now, silence hung over the stars like a dark fog. The Council had not responded for 2 full cycles. Earth's military command called it the waiting storm. Everyone knew it was not over. In the command room buried beneath the Siberian frost, General Lian stood over the glowing table of moving star maps. She stared at the silent space near Sector 7G Delta. That's where the enemy fleet had last been, detected before it vanished. No transmissions, no signs of life, just ... gone. Dr. Keller walked in quietly. There's movement, he said. Lian looked up sharply. Where? Everywhere, he whispered. Earth's satellites were now detecting strange gravitational pulses across 13 sectors, not just ship's wormholes. Artificial, forced, ripped open like wounds in space. Within minutes, the sky changed. Above Earth's orbit, the stars twisted, warped, and tore open as if some invisible claw had ripped them apart. From these rifts came Shadow's vessels, unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Massive, circular, almost organic. They were not Council ships. The command room filled with alerts. This isn't the Council, Keller said, staring at the live feed. These ... are something else. Lian tapped into deep AI memory banks. These match nothing in our database, not even in pre-contact archives. As Earth scrambled to prepare a defense, the alien vessels floated silently above Earth's outer atmosphere. hundreds of them, some shaped like massive jellyfish, others like dark blooming flowers, their outer hulls pulsating with eerie purple light. Then came the broadcast. It did not come through standard frequencies. It came as a wave through dreams, thoughts, and the very pulse of human minds. Everyone on Earth heard it at the same time. You screamed too loudly into the void. We heard, "We are the ones before silence. Now we come to see ... what bleeds." Panic spread, children cried. Soldiers froze. The missiles that had once terrified the galaxy now felt small. Leanne steadied her breath. What do they want? But there was no answer. Just that pulsing voice in every corner of the mind, slowly pushing into deeper fears. Then one ship descended. Not fast, not aggressive. It hovered just above Earth's orbital defense grid. It didn't fire. It simply ... waited. Earth launched 2 warships toward Itha, Aurora, and Sentinel. Their weapons-armed AI systems locked in, crews ready as they approached. The alien ship pulsed once, and both Earth warships stopped, not destroyed, just ... frozen, trapped in some invisible field. The systems inside went dark. Crews inside were alive, but couldn't move. Like statues in space. Back in Earth Command, Leanne's voice was steady, but her fingers trembled. They neutralized us ... without firing. Dr. Keller spoke, almost afraid. This isn't a fleet, it's a judgment. From across the stars, another council message finally came, but it wasn't a demand, it was a scream. Help us, we didn't know. They heard the missiles, they heard the scream. They're not from our galaxy, they're older run. And then the message cut out. The council had tried to hide something. Something Earth's missiles had awakened. Some slumbering force older than the council itself. Something that lived in silence and hated sound. Now they were here, not to conquer, but to punish. The Earth's missile strike had not just destroyed a fleet, had opened a gate. One of the alien ships began projecting symbols in orbit, strange circles and spirals, etched in blue light. Earth's top linguists were called in. It's not a message, said one. It's a warning, or a test. Leanne ordered more warships into orbit, but she knew it was pointless. I don't think we're at war, she whispered. I think we're being judged. At that moment, one of Earth's satellites turned to dust. My orbit. No explosion, no energy blast. Just ... gone ... then another ... and another ... The world watched helplessly as their sky began to blink out. General, Leanne faced the command table. Prepare Protocol Omega. Dr. Keller blinked. But that's do it, she said. Earth's hidden fallback weapon E, silent craft buried beneath, Antarctica began to awaken. It wasn't built to kill, it was built to run, because even Earth knew. Some enemies cannot be fought, only survived. And above, the alien sky continued to open. The galaxy watched in disbelief. Dozens of systems had just gone. Dark communications severed, satellites offline, outposts erased from maps. The Galactic Council tried to spin the narrative. It's an internal solar flare chain reaction, one High Ambassador claimed. Some anomaly from the Orion Veil, said another. But deep down, they all knew. It was Earth. And now, Earth was no longer quiet. Across dozens of star sectors, strange missiles appeared without warning, not launched from ships, not tracked from planets, they just appeared. Like ghosts from the dark, they struck deep into fortified alien territories, vanishing council, supply fleets, weapons caches, and even high-level command stations. No trace left behind, no debris, no survivors. One ambassador whispered, "How are they moving without being seen?" No answer came. In the central command hall of the council, panic had spread like wildfire. The room, once filled with arrogant laughter at the primitive humans, now echoed with tense voices, arguments, and fear. Each representative demanded answers. This is impossible. Their fleet is too small to do this much damage. They must have help, maybe the or the Void Wraiths. But no one had seen any other factions move. Only Earth. Counselor Vectel from the Vargan Dominion stood slowly. "We underestimated them," he said, his voice low but sharp. "We gave a warning. Earth responded with fire. and now they move like shadows across our empire. He stared into the holomap of their territories. Red dots blinked out one by one. Entire sectors were being silenced. "We are not facing a species that fights for control," Vectel growled. "We are facing a species that fights for survival, and those are the most dangerous enemies of all." Back on Earth, deep inside a hidden command center beneath Antarctica, President Mara Ellen watched the data flow across the screen. Protocols operational. Stealth fleets Omega through Theta deployed. Strike Phase 3 approved. Commander Holt turned to her. "Ma'am, we're getting signals from 5 council colonies. They're trying to surrender." She didn't smile. Her eyes remained cold. Mark them, but no response. Not yet. Let them sweat. Earth's strategy was brutal and simple. Disappear into the shadows. Strike without warning. Never speak. Let the galaxy drown in its own fear. In one council outpost on the edge of Sector's Island 4, Admiral Krex of the Drenari stood atop a defense station. His fleet had been untouched. So far, he believed he was safe. But just as he finished his speech to his sub-commanders, the stars around the station shimmered. The next moment, they were gone. The humans didn't fire traditional weapons. They deployed something else silent, invisible matter warheads that phased through shields. Krex didn't even see the attack. 1 second, the command tower was intact. The next, it was dust. Then Earth broadcasted, only once, across every channel, across every planet, starship, and device linked to galactic communications. A simple message played: "You threatened us. You tried to erase us. Now you will remember us forever." Or not at all. It wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was calm, cold, final. The broadcast ended. Silence returned. But the galaxy no longer thought of Earth as weak. No, they feared Earth like a nightmare. On the border world of Veltrax, a young soldier named Yarn watched the broadcast, trembling. They were supposed to be nothing but myths, ... Beside him, an older officer whispered, "No, they're worse. They're real, and they're coming." In space, above Veltrax, a shadow passed over the moon, something massive and dark, not visible to sensors. No energy readings, just ... presence. And then the stars began to blink out again. Earth had warned them. Now, vengeance was burning across the stars, and the final blow was yet to come. The Galactic Council's fleet hovered in Earth's orbit's island, massive and full of judgment. Hundreds of alien warships aimed their weapons down at the blue planet. On the surface, cities braced for impact. Earth's defense systems glowed, like angry eyes in the darkness. But then something strange happened. A pulse, it came from deep space. A ripple. The alien ships froze. Their systems blinked and stuttered. High above the battlefield, a massive Terran vessel emerged. It was silent and black, with no lights or markings. It moved like a shadow through space, slow and unstoppable. The Council's ships tried to scan it, but their sensors failed. It had no ID code, no communication, nothing. Then a voice, deep, human, and cold, rang through every channel. "This is the Terran Judgment Fleet. You violated our skies. You threatened our home. You will now witness the price of that mistake." Panic spread among the Council commanders. This wasn't in the data. One shouted, "They weren't supposed to have this kind of power. We warned them. We told them to kneel." The human ship opened fire, but not like any other race had ever fired. It didn't use missiles. It didn't use lasers. It used something ancient, something ... forgotten. It tore holes in space itself. Wormholes opened inside Council. Warships, folding them into themselves. Ships vanished into black spirals, crushed in silence. Some vessels turned into frozen statues. Time-locked and UNMOVING. Earth had mastered weapons based on quantum gravity, and they were using them now. Without mercy, a Council general screamed into his comms, "Retreat! This is not a battle. This is an execution." But escape was already impossible. A second Terran fleet arrived from the opposite side of the solar system. They had been hiding behind the sun, cloaked, waiting. The trap was complete. Within moments, half of the Council's fleet was gone. The rest tried to flee, but the Terran Judgment Fleet didn't chase. It let them run, and as the last ships vanished into the stars, another message played. This time it was from Earth's president. Her voice was calm, cold. This is the final message from humanity. We do not seek war, but we will not accept chains. If you threaten our world again, we will erase your empires, your councils, your memory from the stars. Let this be your last warning. The message ended. Earth's skies went quiet again. Below, the people watched the night return to peace. Cities still stood. The ground didn't burn. Children looked up and saw the stars once more. In a hidden command center, Admiral Cade stood silently before a giant screen. He watched the last alien blip disappear. Behind him, his officers saluted. No words were needed. He turned to them and said, "They thought we were late to evolve. They thought silence meant fear." He looked out the window, eyes cold. They didn't know silence was the sound of a loaded gun. Far across the galaxy, the surviving council races gathered. Their leaders trembled. Some called for peace. Others called for vengeance. But most remained silent because now they understood humanity had changed. They were no longer the young race. Begging for a seat at the table, they were the storm waiting just outside the door, and they had shown what happened when. That door was kicked open. And thank you for trusting me with your HFY story.